y'all, everybody about ready to go? Jerry? I want to remind everyone that there's no picture taking from the audience, no videos, no recording that's matter in any way other than that's been authorized. I don't want people flashing cameras and everything. We have an authorized photographer, an authorized video maker, but nobody from the public be walking around taking pictures. Don't engage with these parties, the attorneys. Stay on that rail there is for a reason. Public stays on one side of the rail, attorneys and the client stays on this side of the rail. Don't engage and cross the rail unless you're employed by some of these attorneys. No picture taking, no video making. All right, y'all ready?
I can get one in the restroom.
Okay, quick as everybody gets ready, we'll oh, yeah, we're just about to, but need a second, we'll give it to you. They're ready now.
Judge,
Yes. Hang on a second.
yesterday, I went to the rail and wanted to make sure that I didn't waive any of my objections to witnesses based on discovery violations. Can I make my record on this witness real quick?
You can. Just hold the jury for a second. Go ahead.
Your Honor, for purposes of the record, Mr. Hodges was provided in discovery on November the 21st, 2024 as a witness disclosure by the state, document 84 in the record. In that particular discovery disclosure, it states that any written, recorded, or otherwise preserved statement previously disclosed to the defense would be used. Any of the exhibits other than, I don't know if he's going to try to introduce, I believe it states exhibit 17, 19.
Is that the map looking thing?
The map, 19.
If,
Your Honor, I'm having an objection to this one. I do mind not waiving my objection, but I think it would be more appropriate for the witness just to identify by points where they're located as opposed to indicating a path, just where they saw if the judge is going to allow an introduction of the other exhibits, it should only indicate the points on the map where these particular locations are.
If it's, I don't know exactly how Ms. Quinn is intending to you, Mr. Creekmore was questioning this witness. Who was questioning this witness anyway?
I thought he said we were going to approach, which is why I got it.
Well, we don't have to because nobody.
I'm going to see prior to its introduction. I'm going to see how it's handled and give you an opportunity after when it's handled.
As far as a discovery violation, this has not been previously provided in discovery.
Your Honor, my response is there is a PowerPoint, I believe, has been previously provided to them. There's a PowerPoint and this is a slide in that PowerPoint.
Your Honor, that particular the PowerPoint that we were provided, that is not the document. That PowerPoint was not provided on the 21st of November. It was provided somewhere around 26th of November, I believe.
I'm going to, depending on it's hard to me. It's hard to me to judge a contest to see exactly how it's handled. As the testimony develops, if you have an objection, I'll hear what they have to say and how they plan to do it. But generally, I'm going to probably consider this as some kind of demonstrative evidence that I'll probably let in, but I'm not making that ruling until I see how it develops, okay?
Your Honor, I guess procedurally, I kind of got off onto my second part of the argument. I need to know whether the court's going to provide a ruling that it is in fact or is not in fact a discovery violation first, so we can go that far.
I am going to, if they were here drawing a map today, went on a piece of chalkboard, saying our testimony is he started here, moved to there, I would not find a discovery violation. If they have a pre-drawn document, I'm in all likelihood going to consider that not to be a discovery violation as well.
And likewise, Your Honor, for the record, I need a ruling from the court on whether or not Mr. Hodges' disclosure on the 21st of November was a discovery violation or not.
I am not finding a discovery violation at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And I'm not making a ruling on the admissibility of this document at this time. If there's, I'll let you make an objection, and you don't have to. You can stand up and say, the court, Your Honor, no prior objection, and I will rule on you at that time after I see how it's handled. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, I think what we have previously provided as far as a demonstrative evidence was a rough draft. I think it'll change as the trial progresses, depending on the evidence that comes in.
The demonstrative evidence, I'm not going to say necessarily has to be if it coincides with the witness testimony, I'm going to let you draw exhibits as you go.
Your Honor, I know that you've allowed me, I just want to make sure that the record is clear. After the defendant, we're not going to have to hop up and do this discovery. You've well documented your objection to discovery violations, and at any time you wish to call that to court's attention, say, and I'll Thank you, Your Honor.
and I will rule. There may be specific things that I say is a discovery violation, and some that are not anyway. Okay, but I'll note your record. But continue to make contemporaneous objection. You don't have to go in. You can.
If I hadn't objected in a while, I'll just object.
Just throw in. There hasn't been a problem with that so far.
Thank you.
All right. You may show the jury in, please. Good morning. Hope everyone had a good evening and a good meal yesterday. I trust no one had any problems with the court instructions not to investigate the case, discuss the case, form express any opinions. If you ever have any problems with those regard, let the court know. But you're still on the same oath, sir, and we'll continue with the State's direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. it's going to be. All right. Detective Hodges, yesterday, we were talking about the time stamp on the Molly Bar Trail surveillance. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And you had to do some extrapolating of the time. When you went down there, you noticed that it was not current time. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
explain that to the jury?
We got the video the first time. We noticed that the video was incorrect that we downloaded, so went back.
And if you don't mind, speak up a little bit.
So went back and upon checking the system settings, it was set in Greenwich Mean, and it said that we needed to subtract 5 hours. After doing that, noticed that the time was still off. So using my watch and looking at the time on the live stream, noticed that it was an additional 7 hours and 52 minutes off for a total of 12 hours and 52 minutes.
All right. So the first thing you noticed that affected the timestamp was that the setting was incorrect
Yes, sir.
because it was set to Greenwich time,
Greenwich Mean Time, yes, sir.
Greenwich Mean Time. And here is what?
Central Standard Time,
All right, and that difference was
5 hours.
5 hours.
Yes, sir.
So you made that adjustment in the setting, and when you looked at the time, there was still a discrepancy, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's not looking at this videotape, that was looking at their system, comparing it to the actual surveillance system at that time, correct?
Yes, sir. The live feed.
All right, so when you're looking at the live stream, you made the Greenwich time adjustment of 5 hours, it was still off by how many hours in minutes?
After the Greenwich Mean Time, 7 hours and 52 minutes.
All right, so when you put those together, what was the total amount of time that the system was off?
12 hours and 52 minutes.
Now, I believe when you made that adjustment, you went and looked at the time around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning on July the 8th, 2022, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you testified that you were able to secure that footage and you see the car, Jay Lee's car, coming in at a particular time to Molly Bar Trails on July 8th, 2022, correct?
It's July 7th on the video.
No, I mean, when you account for the time change, what time on July 8th, 2022 does Jay Lee's car enter into the Molly Bar Trails parking lot?
Around 7:25 that morning.
Now then,
Around 7:25 that morning.
all right. Now, how much footage did you look at from that day from the Molly Bar Trail surveillance system?
Up until the vehicle was towed.
Okay. Now then, and we're going to come back to when the vehicle was towed and how you know that. But when you first began looking at video surveillance from Molly Bar Trail's apartment complex, what were you looking for?
Jay Lee's vehicle.
All right. And you saw Jay Lee's vehicle. Did you see anything else?
Yes, sir.
What did you see?
A few minutes later, you'll see Mr. Herrington run.
Objection, Your Honor, there's been no foundation laid that he knows Mr. Herrington whatsoever.
I'll ask him to,
All right.
till a proper foundation is laid, that jury will disregard that last answer.
So after Jay Lee's car comes in, you see an individual leaving shortly thereafter, correct?
Yes, sir.
At the time that you saw that individual, were you able to identify him?
At that time, no.
Okay. So at that time, you saw that individual leaving the parking lot of Molly Bar Trails, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, at that point, did you try to find whether that person could have been seen on surveillance cameras coming in?
Yes, sir.
Did you find anybody walking into Molly Bar Trails that matched that description?
No, sir.
All right. Now, if you could, tell the jury about the camera system at Molly Bar Trails.
It's a camera at the entrance. Like I said yesterday, it's one way in, one way out. The only cameras around the complex are right there at the front office.
All right. And behind Molly Bar Trails, are there any walking trails, running trails?
No, sir.
It's just the airport, the fence, and some trees, correct?
The airport fence and woods.
All right. Your Honor, permission to publish Exhibit 18.
Let me catch up from yesterday. 18, you say?
And if I can inquire whether that's being, the screen, it should be able to be seen by all the parties in the courtroom.
Everybody got that on your, all right, and on the big screen. All right, 18 has been admitted into evidence. You may just publish it to the jury.
All right. Detective Hodges, we have queued the video up to, it looks like 2025. I'm sorry? All right, and if you could, remind the jury of what road that is where we see traffic going back and forth.
That is Molly Bar Road.
Okay. All right, now that, if someone were to turn in, is that a roadway as well? Or is that just the entrance?
That is just the entrance to Molly Bar Trails apartment.
Hold on one second.
But,
Foundation.
I'm gonna let him buy that one anyway. Go ahead.
All right,
That is the entrance to Molly Bar Trails apartments.
all right. All right, I'm gonna back it up to 2024 at the 45-second mark.
Good morning.
I'm sorry. It's at the 2017 mark. Sorry about that. All right. We're queued up at 2016-55. All right. Do you see that car entering into Molly Bar Apartments?
Yes, sir. I did.
We did.
Got it back? All right. Were you able to identify that vehicle?
Yes, sir.
All right. Whose vehicle was it?
That's Jay Lay's vehicle.
All right. And then from this same footage, you said you saw an individual leaving shortly thereafter, correct? I'm going to cue it up to just before 2026. All right. They're at 20:26:40.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you were testifying to, what you observed on the video?
2026, yes, sir.
Okay. 20:26 and 40 seconds, right?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Were you able to observe what that individual was wearing?
Appears to be a hoodie.
All right. Can you see the image being depicted there at the timestamp that's represented on here at the 20:26:37 mark?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, taking into account the time adjustment that you made, can you tell the jury what the actual time this was?
That is around 7:34.
$7:34 a.m. on what day?
July the 8th.
Now then, going back to, just for the record, can you describe what that individual in that exhibit is wearing?
It appears to be a light-colored hoodie, and if you can play it a little bit more, I want to say he was wearing dark-colored shorts.
Socks and shoes?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe them?
The shoes are white.
Were you able to observe any other items of clothing? Can you play it again?
Looks like he might have something around his neck.
Okay. All right. I played it back. All right, at the 37 mark, said it appears like there was something around his neck
Yes, sir.
that was not part of that hoodie.
Objection, Your Honor, to the lady.
I sustain the objection.
Was what you observed around the neck part of the hoodie?
Your Honor, objection, that's a video speaks for itself, Your Honor.
Rephrase your question.
If you can, describe what he had around the hoodie.
Appears to be a darker colored piece of clothing or something.
If you don't mind, speak up. Now I'm going to hand you what's already been received in evidence. That's 13. That's going to be the records from Bandit Towing. And I believe you testified that they recorded that they reported down to Molly Bar Trails apartment complex on July the 8th at 1:50 p.m., correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you were looking through all of the video, were you able to see the J. Lee's car being towed from Molly Bar Trails?
Yes, sir.
You observed that when you were looking through those videos?
Yes, sir.
Did you already know that Bandit Towing, through those records, had towed J. Lee's car on July the 8th, 2022 at 1:50 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you compare that time to the time on the video where you observed Bandit towing J. Lee's car from Molly Bar Trails Apartments?
Yes, sir.
Was it the exact same time extrapolation difference that you made in relation to the time that you saw J. Lee's car entering into Molly Bar Trails and the individual walking out?
Yes, sir.
Consistent with the adjustments that you made?
Yes, sir.
were you able to confirm that your adjustments were accurate and correct based on the time records from Bandit Towing
Yes, sir.
and the video from Molly Bar Trails?
Yes, sir.
Now then, hand you Exhibit 19. Can you identify that?
This map,
Yes, sir.
it's a route showing the,
Objection is what, that's, can identify. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you've seen it.
They can identify, then have objection.
Can you identify it?
it's a map showing,
Don't, just,
Just
yes or no?
for now.
yes,
You can't identify it. Is there anything on that exhibit that is inconsistent with what you just testified to?
no, sir.
All right. Now, it's already been identified as just for ID only. But I want you to look at it, and I want you to see if there is an indication of the video from Rainbow Cleaners.
Yes, sir.
All right. And if you could, take this pen where that's indicated and mark
Before we get started marking, let me look at the exhibit, because I know we've had some alternate suggestions and such, and I want to make sure we're all on the same. Okay, I just want to make sure that was the map I was looking at. Go ahead. Okay.
Your Honor, let me
I'll
state my
I'll
objection.
listen to your objection now. Go ahead.
I've objected time and time again about the relevance of any of this until we've established a crime, which we haven't. What this exhibit shows, what the evidence at this point in time is Keziah Carter leaving and traveling back, dropping our client off at his apartment. This car video that they're talking about, the only connection they've shown, the car coming back at this point in time is leaving Jay Lee's apartment at 558. On this map, it indicates a route going to our client's apartment. That is not in evidence, Your Honor.
All right.
This route here going to, let me finish, Your Honor.
Hang on a second. Prior to the introduction of this map in its entirety like it is now, the state will have to lay a foundation as to where these items are, where each of these locations are anyway.
Your Honor, I want to be perfectly clear. The video on Rainbow Cleaners, they've testified to identified in an exhibit. The video at Rebel Drive, they've identified in an exhibit. Out of order, no connection to any crime, no connection to any killing, no connection to any murder, but the court's allowed it to happen. The Rocket Quick Mart video, it's in the exhibit. CD Webb video, Molly Barr, all these exhibits. Absolutely zero evidence has been submitted that Lafayette Place Apartments has anything to do with this car that they're referencing in this. At this point in time, Your Honor, this map is inconsistent with the proof that they've laid in evidence at this time. If they'll just put Jay Lee's house on here, his apartment, and put it through there on this particular map, I don't have an objection because that's what the proof is. They show Jay Lee's apartment, leaving in his car, and a car going to Molly Bar. That is the evidence right now. And I'm going to object to anything else on top of that. There's nothing whatsoever that Lafayette Place or my client's apartment has anything to do at this point in time. Or a car leaving from Lafayette Place. The Jay Lee's car ever left from Lafayette Place at this point in time. They don't have any video from Lafayette Place to say they left from that location. What we have right now at 558, Jay Lee's car leaving. And they're going through these cameras from Rainbow, Rockets to Molly Bar. That is the proof. Nothing more, nothing less. Anything more than that, at this point in time, Your Honor, I'm objecting to, and it would be improper for it to be admitted. If they want to put that map in right now, that's fine. It's misleading to this jury that there's any video, any evidence whatsoever. When he says that's the route of this car, that is not consistent with anything that can be submitted in this time, or any proof that they're ever going to submit in this court of law.
I'll hear from the state.
Your Honor, it's our case in chief. We do anticipate a interview, 2 interviews, one with the defendant at his apartment, one with the defendant at the sheriff's department.
Well, put it on.
I mean, at the police department. We're going to.
Put the map on that. You do.
We're gonna talk. I gave you a chance to talk. More, Rick more chance to talk.
He admits that Jay Lee came to Lafayette Place that morning.
Hang on.
All right.
Let me just tell you this. Let me tell you this. I'm going to let you talk about this map at this time, and I'm going to let you talk about what the location of Lafayette Place apartment is at this time in relation to Rainbow Cleaners. I'm not going to let you say that is the route that was taken at this time. You can say, let the officer identify where Lafayette Place apartment was. You can let the officer identify where did Mr. Carter say he carried Mr. The defendant back to. But at this point, I'm not going to let you testify that you can start your route at Molly Bar Trails, and as far as a route of the vehicle from Molly Bar Trails to Rainbow Cleaners, but you can't refer to it from Lafayette Place Apartments to Rainbow Cleaner as a route at this time.
Your Honor, I would ask the court admonish Mr. Horan for wrinkling my exhibits.
So we're perfectly clear. that's a route. They're not gonna be to testify. This man's not gonna be to testify. This exhibit's not gonna be admitted into evidence until such time as it becomes relevant, correct?
I'm gonna let this witness testify about the points on the map. We're not gonna show, no route, we're not gonna say that Mr. J. Lee's car traveled to any points other than Rainbow Cleaners to Molly Bar Trail Apartments this time. I will let him point out where in relation to this, where in relation to those points, where Lafayette Place Apartments were, and let him point out, if this witness knows, where Mr. Herrington resided at, if you know.
If he knows, but the title of that map.
I'm not introducing the map into evidence at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At some point, I may well, but
Nor can he reference it like the top of the map that says route of car because it hadn't been established.
I'm not introducing it to evidence this time. I'm gonna let the witness refer to it and tell about those things that I've said at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But if a witness takes a stand and say that they've been from point A to point B, consistent with that map, I'll reconsider at that time.
Thank you.
I'm going to let him reference that map up to the points where we're at right now.
Your Honor, I'm sorry it got so hot. We're trying this case back.
I told you, I knew, as I warned the people before we started, this is going to be a hotly contested case, and I expect it, and I'm not holding it against anybody.
We just ready to get to it, Your Honor.
Let's finish it. Well, let's get to it then.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Your Honor, before
Go
we
ahead.
move forward, is the court's objectionable part at this time on Exhibit 19, the red mark leading to Lafayette Place? If I remove that red mark,
If you remove that red mark, let's see, demonstrative route taken by Jimmie Lee Ford Fuse. If you remove that red mark from Rainbow Cleaners to Lafayette Place Apartments, I'll let you introduce it this time. You start at Rainbow Cleaners and go to Molly Bar Apartment, or vice versa. I'll let you introduce it this time, and then at some point, depending on the evidence, I may let it in with that mark on there. But at this point, and I will let you reference, testify in relation to those points, where is Lafayette Place Apartments? But no map with a red line on it.
Your Honor, I would only probably
Do what now?
map. At that point in time, the map would be consistent with what you've allowed into evidence at this time. We'd only have my objection left as to the relevancy. But if they do that, from Rainbow Cleaner headed that way,
I
That's
think
no
that's
other
what,
problem with it.
all right, that's what we're gonna do at this point. Look, Cindy,
I'm okay.
let Mr. Horan see if that. Somebody get see if you can get a better map with, you can take the red line off, put a blue one on.
Put a blue one on there. Put tape over.
It's like, maybe if we put
While y'all working on that, I'm gonna take this one brief minute.
here, then it won't look, if you put something right there, then it won't look like something.
might got the
That's okay.
Did you enjoy your day out yesterday?
I'm sorry.
Did you enjoy your day yesterday?
Well, it wasn't really a day off. I had other stuff, but
But your fingers rested.
my fingers were.
All right. Have we made any progress on red line redaction?
Connor, they're gonna print out another.
If you want to begin, keep up, but resume your questioning without introduction into evidence until you can get a amended copy made. You can, let's not wait to, I won't introduce or publish to the jury at this
I
point.
was gonna write the exhibit, have the witness write the exhibit numbers by each one before we admitted it.
Just don't publish that. We're not gonna omit that current, map into the evidence. You can continue questioning him on it as you like, just don't display it at this time.
Okay, thank you.
What is that exhibit number?
17.
Nine. Are y'all ready? At such time as you get a, for lack of a better word, a new map, I want it assigned a different number. The current map 19 will be for ID purposes, and if assuming that the map is later introduced into evidence, it'll be introduced as a new exhibit number, so that if it ever comes up, we'll know what two different maps look like. Okay. We're ready, huh? All right, some jury in. All right, everybody good? I'm glad to see you lay instructions down anyway. You didn't go to faith healer or nothing last night, did you? Lay hands on you and everything? All right, I'm glad you're doing better. But you may resume your examination.
Thank you, Honor. All right, we're gonna look at exhibit S13. Is that in focus for you?
We don't have
Not on
any, we don't,
screen.
no contact on anything, I don't think. Right? Y'all got any? I don't have any.
I think you control it. I may be wrong.
I got, all the lights are on up here, like it's been displayed.
It's on HDMI at the podium.
We got the
So I'm
expert-
good here.
We got the expert coming anyway.
I may have done it when I. No, it's gonna be on the.
We getting somewhere
Yeah,
now,
man.
I think.
Give it a second.
All right.
Is it on?
It's on.
that matters.
Beat y'all last night. Mark, you.
There we go.
If you ever need anything, y'all need anything, make a mistake, we'll call. Please make that happen.
Sure why? I'll just leave that on.
I can see, can y'all see? All right, we're back in business. Apparently the big screen can see now too.
As far as I can tell, we didn't do anything, it just showed up.
I walked by and I have a way to just, my mere presence could screw up technology anyway.
Again, Detective Hodges, we're looking at S13. And that's a receipt from Bandit Towing, right?
Correct.
Who is Bandit Towing and what do they do? And do you work with them on a regular basis?
They're a tow company within the city, I guess the county, and they tow vehicles.
All right. Can you tell the jury a little bit about parking as an issue in Oxford and parking as an issue at apartment complexes in Oxford?
We got more vehicles here than we do parking. Apartment complexes, they only have so many parking spaces, and they're mostly for their tenants. They do have some of them do have areas for visitors. Some people that visit don't park in a visiting spot. They park in the area for the tenant spots, so the tenants call and complain. The apartment complexes, they have started hiring private tow companies to come in and keep a check. If you don't have a parking pass and you're parking in a resident spot, they will hook up and tow you.
On this receipt, do you see a time indication as to when they reported, Bandit Towing reported to Molly Bar Trails?
Yes, sir.
All right, what time is that?
1:50 p.m.
All right. Now then, can you compare that time to the time you saw Jay Lee's car entering into Molly Bar Trails?
That is after.
All right. How long?
7 o'clock to not quite 7 hours.
Okay. I believe that you testified that the Jay Lee's vehicle enters into Molly Bar Trails at 7:25.
Yes, sir.
So from 7:25 to 1:50 is how long it took for somebody to report a car that was parked in Molly Bar Trails apartment to contact a towing company to come in and remove it?
Actually, Bandit Towing, they periodically ride through complexes, and when they see a vehicle parked without a sticker, they'll hook up to it.
We've gone through this previously, can't possibly testify as to what practices are bandit towing. That's irrelevant to,
If he knows, he can. If you don't, he don't.
probably been asked and answered by another witness.
Let's move on. I think it has been covered anyway.
All right. All right. I'm going to display another page of Exhibit 13. Now, this image, prior to you ever seeing Jay Lee's car, did you have an idea of what Jay Lee's car looked like?
Prior to this image, no, sir, I don't think so.
So you found out from looking at these photos from bandit towing what the car looked like?
Yes, sir.
All right. And whether it had any distinctive markings?
Yes, sir.
All right. And what were those?
That racing stripe on the hood.
And then after you had this information is when you went and looked for cars that morning, correct?
Yes, sir.
That looked like Jalen's car.
Yes, sir.
Now then, looking at another page of that exhibit, orienting the jury to the layout of Molly Bartrell's apartment, can you tell where this vehicle was as far as what you were describing as the back of Molly Bartrell's, behind Molly Bartrell's, behind the parking lot?
That is the backside of Molly Bartrell's, and that behind the vehicles, that is the wooded area.
And then behind the wooded area is what?
The airport.
Is it possible for anybody to walk onto that airport property from Molly Bartrell's parking lot?
No, sir.
Why?
There's a fence there.
All right, and looking at another page of that exhibit, this is Jay Lee's car from a different angle, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that's from the rear?
Yes, sir.
I believe. If you zoom in on it, you can see the vantage plate.
Yes, sir.
Did it have any other distinctive markings on the vehicle?
Yes, sir. That sticker.
What does that sticker say?
I believe it says, "I love my Pomeranian."
All right, did you know Jay Lee to have a Pomeranian?
He had a dog. Yes, sir.
All right, in looking through all of the videos, if you can, just from Molly Bartrell's apartment, all the surveillance videos, you focused on July 8th, 2022, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and we've already introduced exhibits where you identified Jay Lee's car entering into Molly Bartrell's and the route that car took to get there, correct?
Correct.
All right. From that time, how many hours before did you look at? And how many hours after that time did you look through video surveillance from Molly Bartrell's?
Several.
All right. And what were you looking for?
Was this after we identified the person running?
Now, let me ask you this. Beforehand, did you ever see Jay Lee's vehicle enter into Molly Bartrell's other than that time in all of the video surveillance you saw from Molly Bartrell's apartment?
No, sir. Just that one time.
All right. And can you approximately tell the jury how many hours of footage you looked at from Molly Bartrell's apartment? How long did it take you to go through that footage?
That was several hours of footage and a couple of days worth going through, looking through it.
I can't hear you.
Several hours of video footage, and it took a couple of days to go through it.
Okay. All right. So now then, from the time that the 7:20 on July the 8th, 2022 at Molly Bartrell's, when you see Jay Lee's car come in, did you ever see any footage of Jay Lee's car leaving prior to bandit towing coming in at 1:50 p.m.?
No, sir.
Court's indulgence. Court's indulgence.
Okay.
May I make a copy of this?
You may. Don't trip. Look what you got there. No, I want to assign this a different number. You just want, well, since we don't have a 20 yet, let's just make it 20.
Put that sticker on.
Over the trial. Okay. All right. I'm going to hand you Exhibit 20 for ID. You recognize that? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, and I believe I handed you a pen as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
And now, we started out, is there an indication on that exhibit for the Rainbow Cleaners surveillance video?
Yes, sir.
And a time, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the Rainbow Cleaners video was introduced as Exhibit 14, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you don't mind, take my pen, and where the Rainbow Cleaners is, just put Exhibit 14. All right, is there an indication of the CV web photo indicated on that exhibit?
Yes, sir. It says CB Web Video.
Video, but it's actually the way you testify.
That
you
is-
took a screenshot
That
from
right,
that CB web video, correct?
that right there is Jackson and the Rebel that you have in your hand.
Well, let's do Jackson and Rebel first. Is there an indication on Jackson and Rebel?
It says Rebel Drive.
Is that from the UPD camera?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that was exhibit 15,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
You could indicate that in that location. And then you've got the Rockets video. Is that indicated on that exhibit?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's got the time on it, consistent with your testimony?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that was introduced as Exhibit 16?
Yes, sir.
You could indicate Exhibit 16. Is there an indication on that exhibit for the CD web screenshot?
Yes, sir.
Does it say video on it?
It says video, yes,
So
sir.
you testified about that, and we have a screenshot of that,
Yes, sir.
and that's Exhibit 17?
Yes, sir.
If you could indicate that on that exhibit. And then, the exhibit that we were looking at, the Molly Bar Trails apartment video, there were 2 times. Are those indicated on that exhibit, consistent with your testimony?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that was referencing Exhibit S18, correct?
Yes, sir.
If you could indicate that on that exhibit. If you could put just a little S by each one of those numbers. This time the state asked that S20 be received.
Other than the objection previously noted, any objection? It'll be admitted.
All right, permission to publish.
Okay.
All right. So, looking at Exhibit 20, do you see Molly Bar Trails and Lafette Place Apartments on that exhibit?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you tell the jury what the distance is from one location to the other?
We object just briefly. I mean, discuss something.
Cutting and pasting a copy is how I survived before the age of all this computer stuff anyway.
state asked for this to be received as S-21.
Is that one that,
It's replacing S-20.
everybody good with our procedure? Okay. All right. That'll be S-20.
S-21.
Well, I've already admitted S-20,
We're gonna replace S-20.
but let's just leave it let's just throw that one S-20 away and make this S-20. If that's, everybody's all right with that, because I've already shown S-20 is admitted, so. I will note just for the record that apparently we removed some notation on the original S-20 and replaced it with the new S-20. All right, go ahead.
All right. So, looking at S-14 on Exhibit S-20, you see that?
Yes, sir.
Is that near Lafayette Place Apartments?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, looking at Lafayette Place Apartments and following the roadway that you would naturally take to get to Molly Bar Trails, how long is it from that point to Molly Bar Trails?
According to that map, it's 2.6 miles.
2.6 miles?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, the exhibits reference the surveillance cameras that you got this evidence from, correct?
Correct.
And if you were going to leave Lafayette Place Apartments and go to Molly Bar Trails, would that be the natural route to take?
That'd be the route I took.
All right. And from S-14 to S-18, those are, in ascending order, but also, are they sequentially connected to each other?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, I want to look at the time listed on this exhibit at Molly Bar Trails apartment, okay? That was in S-18, referring back to that video surveillance, okay?
Okay.
The first time listed up there at Molly Bar Trails is what?
7:25 a.m.
And what does that refer to?
That is the time that Jay Lee's vehicle enters into Molly Bar Trails.
Right. And then below that is a time listed 7:34. What does that refer to?
That is the time that we see an individual running out of Molly Bar Trails.
We know what they were dressed in, we know what they were wearing, we know what they look like, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that 7:34 refers to that moment in time on the video, correct?
Correct.
Now, the way it stands, if you were to play that exhibit, it's going to have what the surveillance system timestamp had on it, correct?
Correct.
And that was 7/7/2022, correct?
Correct.
But you testified that you corrected that time when you went and gathered that video surveillance yourself, adjusted for that time, and that's how you arrived at 7:25 and 7:34, correct?
Correct.
And you were able to also compare that to the timestamps on every other surveillance camera, too, correct?
Correct.
And were they consistent with each other as to the time that you adjusted on the exhibit for Molly Bar Trails?
Yes, sir.
toggle back and forth. All right, so looking at Exhibit 20, you've got S14 Rainbow Cleaners at 7:18 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Friendly reminder, if you have conversations with co-counsel at the podium, you're more than likely being heard.
All right. I'm going to try to toggle back. Yeah.
Everybody good on the jury?
How do I get back to the HDMI? Ah. All right. I hope so. Is that being displayed for you?
It is. Yep. I think it's everywhere.
All right. Now, that's going to be, I'm projecting the rainbow cleaners. That's going to be Exhibit 14, correct?
Correct.
And the time on that right now is what?
7:18.
Okay. And I believe you testified that we're looking for a white truck with a trailer.
Yes, sir.
Then behind that truck is who?
Jay Lee's vehicle.
White truck, trailer, Jay Lee's vehicle.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now then, if I toggle back, can you see Exhibit S20 being displayed?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, that video that we just saw, is that referencing S14 that you indicated on Exhibit 20
Yes, sir.
at 7:18, correct?
Yes, sir.
That is connected to Rainbow Cleaners video, Lee's cars eastbound on Jackson.
Yes, sir.
All right. And then on S15, I'm going to let it play until it's off the screen first. Okay, are we back to Exhibit 14. Do you see that on your display? Yes. All right, and that's at 7/18/52.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that eastbound on Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Is that headed to the UPD Rebel in Jackson surveillance camera?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, we're going to look back at Exhibit S20. We went from S14, right?
Yes, sir.
Eastbound on Jackson,
Yes, sir.
headed to the Rebel Drive UPD camera, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to project S15. Looking at S15, are you able to identify that vehicle?
Yes, sir.
All right. Whose vehicle is it?
That's Jaylee's vehicle.
Is that the same vehicle that was in S14 on the Rainbow Cleaners?
Yes, sir.
Is it traveling the same direction eastbound on Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Now, is there a timestamp? You may not be able to see it. Unless I hand it to you. Can you see the date?
7/8/2022.
And are you able to tell the time?
Time on that is going to be 7/21/56.
Is that consistent with the timestamp on Exhibit S20?
Yes.
All right. So that's from S14 to S15, eastbound on Jackson.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now then, the next exhibit is going to be S16, right?
Yes, sir.
And that was video promotions, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the Rockets exhibit is S16. Do you see that being displayed on your screen?
Yes, sir.
And that's going to be, according to your testimony, at 7/23/21. Correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're at 7/23/09. Do you still see that image?
Yes, sir.
All right. What car just passed in front of Rockets?
That is Jay Lee's vehicle.
All right, at 7:23:25.
Yes, sir.
You see it stopping at that stop sign right there?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so if we look back, at Exhibit 20, does it appear that the timing from S15 and S16 is consistent with traveling that distance from 15 to 16?
Yes, sir.
Right, you see the car completely leave the surveillance camera. The next indication on this map is going to be S17, right?
Correct.
S17, sort of right at the same time there in front of Rocket's video. They were sort of getting two different angles, correct?
Yes, sir.
Even though they're different establishments. Now, was there a time listed on that surveillance?
Yes, sir.
And what was that?
7:23:50.
Okay. Now, going back to Exhibit 20, we're getting to the Malabar Trail surveillance, right?
Correct.
And that's listed on here, Malabar Trails 725 S18.
Correct.
Is that being projected on your screen?
Yes, sir.
See Jay Lee's car come in?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
Whatever you did, don't do it no more.
Is that being projected on your screen?
Yes, sir.
According to this down here on this exhibit, Jay Lee's car pulls in, according to their timestamp, at 2017. You see the car coming in?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Thank you. All right, 2017.
Yes, sir.
Would you look at Exhibit 18 on should be coming up. Is Exhibit 20 being displayed?
Yes, sir.
The time listed there is 7:25.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that based on your adjusting for the appropriate time, based on Greenwich time zone setting, and based on confirming through bandit towing the time difference, making those adjustments from this 2017 number to what you arrived at on this exhibit?
Yes, sir.
And is that time consistent with the path that J. Lee's car took from Rainbow Cleaners through Rocket's gas station? Consistent with the time that you arrived at based on your calculations? If somebody was headed from Rainbow Cleaners to Malagar Trails?
Yes, sir.
What's the goal? It's okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm just making sure it's the right exhibit. All right. Do you see an image on your screen
Yes, sir.
from Exhibit 18? All right, we're queued up to almost 2034 on this exhibit. Correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and this is the spot on the video that matches up to the 7:34 timestamp that you listed on Exhibit S20? Do you know?
No, sir. It
You
should
don't
be
know?
2026.
Here's your exhibit. It's 2026.
Yes, sir.
All right, so 2026 matches up to the 7:34,
Yes, sir.
and we're queued up to 2025 and 59 seconds. All right, that matches up to the Molly Bar Trails, the second timestamp on your exhibit in S20.
Yes, sir.
You can see what that individual was wearing, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can see the individual go in a certain direction too, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what road is that again?
Molly Bar Road.
In what direction did that individual go on Molly Bar Road?
He turned right, leaving the turned right, leaving the complex
And is that toward
toward Rockets.
Toward Rockets? All right. Now, prior to your testimony, video from Rockets was introduced through Keziah Carter. Do you know who Keziah Carter is?
Yes, sir.
Have you viewed that video from Rockets
Yes, sir.
involving Keziah Carter?
Yes, sir.
As part of your investigation, do you know what Keziah Carter did on July the 8th, 2022 at 7:38?
You said what he did. He,
Part of your investigation.
yes, sir.
What did he do?
I'm gonna let the officer testify as what his investigation has discovered.
There it is. All right, I'm projecting Exhibit 4. It's queued up July 8th, 2022 at 7:37 and 55 seconds. Do you recognize this video?
Yes, sir. That's Rockets.
You recognize this video?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now I'm going to direct your attention. We're at 7:38:07. And again, the traffic outside the parking lot at the top of the screen, what road is that?
That is Molly Bar Road.
And Molly Bar Trails, if I was to leave this parking lot, how would I get to Molly Bar Trails?
Take a left.
I'm going to back it up a few seconds. It's 7:38 mark, okay? All right. Now, if you are to look at the top left of the image being projected, do you see the white van?
Yes, sir.
And if you look above that and to the left, do you see that area?
Yes, sir.
And that area is what, Molly Bar Road?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to play. If you would look at that area and tell me when you see an individual running, okay?
There he is.
All right, that's at the 7:38 mark in 5 seconds.
Yes, sir.
All right? Now, comparing that timestamp with the time that you adjusted for the person leaving Molly Bar Trail's apartment, what's the difference between those two times?
Around 4 minutes.
Does the person that you see there at the 7:38 and 24-second mark appear to be wearing the same type of clothing as the person leaving Molly Bar Trail's apartment?
Yes, sir.
Does it look like they're wearing the exact same clothing?
Yes, sir.
I can't remember whether I think you testified yesterday, or it may have been another witness, but you're familiar with this area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Where is the police department in relation to riots?
To the right.
And if you don't mind, speak up.
To the right.
And do you travel this area quite often?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the run at certain times of day and that kind of thing?
Yes, sir.
You recognize them on a regular basis?
Some of them.
Had you ever seen someone like this running in that area?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, you looked at all the video surveillance. Did you see any other runners that morning in any other surveillance that you saw that looked and matched that description?
I believe so. No, not that match that description. No, sir.
All right. Come to the witness, Your Honor.
We've been out here a little while with not too many interruptions, any breaks anyway, so I'm gonna give you all a little break at this time. Remember the court's instructions, don't discuss the case, don't anyone discuss the case with you, don't express informal opinions,